I was being treated in hospital for a chemical imbalance after the birth of my first child. After having serious marriage problems, I stopped sleeping much and was way too up. About 10 days after the birth, I entered the hospital. After an initial assessment, they decided I needed to sleep. I was walking down the hall of the hospital with my mom when the nurse approached with the medication. I took the pills and immediately felt the wild symptoms. I knew that I had to find my bed and called out to my mom to take me there. My eyes were rolling up and my tongue felt like it was choking me. I groped to my bed and fell unconscious face down. I immediately left my body, traveling so fast within this amazing, comforting, all-encompassing light. Words cannot describe this feeling. I arrived at a place where a being, guide, held my hand, while different parts of my life played out before me like a movie. However, everything was from inside of the person I was with at the time. How they felt when I looked at them, talked to them, it was a huge shock. I became full of knowledge that was like a burden to me. I still have to stop myself from telling people about themselves and their behavior, even today. Anyway, next came more like a tunnel at the end of which was a group of my family waiting for me in a garden. Far in the distance, I could see many things like a beautiful city or large palace. It was strange because it didn't look like it was on land. Maybe an island or something. In between was a small river. It was amazingly beautiful. Things smelled wonderful. Words are not powerful enough to describe these sights. There was music softly playing but no musicians. Everything was in its natural form. No technology. My great-grandmother was the strongest presence there, and in life as well. I knew her until I was 14. She broke into my amazing reverence and said point blank, "You cannot stay here." I argued. I pleaded. She forced me to look down and all of a sudden, I was in the hospital watching the doctor from a height of about 15 to 20 feet or so. The ceilings were only average height, so I was looking through the floor. My mom was on the side of the bed near the door, and the nurse was on the other side. The doctor was right on the bed on top of me, giving me a needle, adrenaline, into my neck. He was shouting at me, "Shauna, don't forget to breathe." My mother was crying hard and holding onto the wall for support. I heard a voice in my head, "You have a choice, will you leave your mother and your baby behind?" The very next moment, I took a breath and opened my eyes, smiled at the doctor, and said, "What are you so worried about?" "About I am fine." Then I sat up. He freaked out. He pushed me back down and shouted at me to lay still. I tried to reassure him. I told him I saw what he did and that I went someplace wonderful. All he said was, "I'm so glad you came back."